Hello, my name is MG Leonard, and together with Sam Sedgman, we have written a brand new book called The Highland Falcon Thief, coming into bookshops on the 30th of January. It's the first in a new series called Adventures on Trains. And today I'd like to read you the first few pages from chapter 1, which is called A Ticket to Ride. Harrison Beck pulled a biro from the pocket of his yellow anorak, deftly turning it over his index finger so it was nibbed down, and began to draw in the central margin of the newspaper spread across the table. The worry lines he saw gouged into his father's forehead were making him nervous. Colin Beck put down the sports section of the paper with a frustrated sigh and pointed at the station clock. "He said he'd meet us here at 5. We're in the cafe your brother specified. It's 5 o'clock. He looked out at the people crisscrossing the station. "So where is he, Bev?" "Don't fret, love," Beverly Beck scolded her husband gently. "It'll give you indigestion." She laid her hand on his sleeve. "Nat'll be here." Hal's pen twitched as he studied his mother's face. She looked tired. Dad's blue duffel coat drowned her, but she was so pregnant now that her bump bulged out of the front. No one had asked him if he wanted a baby sister, but he was getting one whether he liked it or not. He put his pen down. "Mum, I don't want to go with Uncle Nat. I want to stay here with you. I don't like trains. They're boring." "I know, sausage." She reached over and ruffled his hair. "But it'll be good for you to spend some time with your uncle. He's an interesting man." Hal pulled a face. Whenever a grown-up said something was good for you, that meant it was dull or disgusting or both. "You'd only be stuck in a hospital waiting room, and that's no place for you to end your summer holiday." She patted his hand. "You might even enjoy yourself." "I won't." Hal looked up through the glass roof of the station at a cloudy sky. He didn't want to be packed off on a train journey with a weird uncle he only ever saw at Christmas. The high brick arches of King's Cross were wrapped in a white latticework sculpture that made the inside of the station feel like a hive and all the busy passengers bees. A seething tangle of people rushed about, dragging bags and carrying briefcases. A man stood next to a metal rack stacked with newspapers, shoving them at people. Hal glimpsed the headline. "Jewel thief strikes again," as a woman in a suit snatched one from the vendor, flipping it under her armpit to read on the train. 2 bulging-breasted pigeons strutted towards him, pecking at the floor. Colin Beck kicked out his leg. "Get away," he grunted. "Vermin." Hal frowned at his dad, tearing the crust from his half-eaten ham sandwich and ducking under the table to toss it to the startled-eyed birds. The pigeons grabbed the finger of bread and began a tug of war. A pair of trainers, charcoal suede with 3 white stripes, stopped beside the table. Hal saw chestnut herringbone trousers with a crisp vertical crease. It could only be one person. Mum's metal chair scraped against the concrete floor as she got up. "Nat!" she cried, waddling around the table and throwing her arms around her older brother. "Careful, Bev, you'll knock me over." Uncle Nat put down his battered leather suitcase and umbrella, hugging her. "How are you, pet? Are you well?" "Yes," Mum replied, her eyes darting to Hal. "I'm fine." "Nathaniel, good to see you." Dad was on his feet, grabbing Uncle Nat's hand and shaking it. "We appreciate you doing this. We really do." Hal's eyes flickered from his uncle to his father. Uncle Nat was composed of straight lines. He was thin, with neatly trimmed straight hair, and wore thick-framed tortoise-shell glasses. His crumpet-coloured raincoat and mustard sweater went perfectly with his trousers and shoes. By contrast, Dad was a jumble of circles. His kind, round face reached up to a receding bowl of salt and pepper hair, crowned with a bald patch. His shoulders rolled forwards, and his navy plaid shirt was tucked into his brown-belted chinos, underlining his overhanging belly. Uncle Nat turned to Hal, his eyes twinkling. "It's about time I got to know my nephew better." He offered Hal his hand. "You've grown since Christmas, Harrison. Are you excited about our steam-powered adventure?" Hal shook his uncle's hand and nodded, but he wasn't going to say yes, because that would be a lie. A journey all the way to Scotland and back on the slowest train in the world with his uncle was not what he called an adventure. But it turns out to be one, and I really hope you enjoy it.